Hello, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us on today's webinar, 5 W's of an Outcome-Based Service Model, brought to you by Technology Services Industry Association and sponsored by ServiceMax. My name is Inga Intriago, your moderator for today. Before we get started, we just have a few housekeeping items. Audio is routed through your computer speakers. If you encounter audio quality or technical issues, let us know right away via the questions panel. You may access full screen view via the toggle button located at the top right area of the console. We do encourage you to ask questions at any time via the questions panel. If you don't get to your question today, we will follow up with you via email. And finally, a link to the recorded version of today's webinar and the PDF of the presentation will be sent out in the next 24 hours via email. Once again, thank you for taking the time to join us today. Our presenters today are Val Golovsky, VP Research Field Services for TSIA, and Melissa Morgan, Director of Product Marketing for ServiceMax. We do have a lot of exciting material to share in the next 30 minutes, so let's go ahead and get started by turning things over to our first presenter. Val, over to you.
Thanks, Inga, and welcome to everyone on the call. In 2013, TSI introduced the world to B4B and the fact that the service industry is rapidly moving from a pure product focus to a customer outcome-based focus. And during today's webinar, I'll provide a quick summary to frame the discussion, and then Melissa will share some of the great things that ServiceMax is doing to enable field service organizations during this transformation. So today, customers are pursuing new consumption models that don't involve these large upfront product purchases. And this is really forcing companies to create new ways to offer their product, one in which the customer pays as they consume. In other words, that's the new outcome-based service offer. These new models and these new outcome-based offers are going to put tremendous pressure on today's field service organizations to adapt, be relevant, and continue to deliver a key revenue stream for their company. And the framework that I'm sharing right now on the screen provides a useful, simple description of the four basic supplier models that we expect to take hold as the industry shifts from B2C to B4B. Now, many of the hardware companies today operate in this level 1 and level 2 area where, essentially you deliver a good product and, maybe you'll add some implementation, some customization, and maintenance services to support your product. Out of that model that has been in place for a long time came an agreement, which basically said that level 1 and level 2 suppliers will essentially make sure that the asset works, but then it's really up to the customer to own it, to operate it, and make sure that the product is functioning to its fullest capability to achieve the outcome. And, this is a pretty clean deal. You drop it off and you go, and then it's up to the customer to make it work. But in today's environment, it's really a tough place to operate because that core technology asset is commoditizing, and there's a lot of pressure and competition for that attached service offering. A lot of field service organizations are fighting third-party service providers, and then more and more companies are offering multi-vendor services where everybody's trying to take business from each other. But probably the most important reason for making some of the change is that customers want more. They want suppliers that are going to help them make that transition, to help them actually do the own, operate, and get the outcome. So as a result, the level 1 and 2 offers that used to be growing are now starting to shrink in size. And all the future growth opportunities really fall under these level 3 and level 4 offers, where suppliers are going to find new ways to save the customers money and improve their business outcomes. And just to kind of give you an idea of what some of those offers look like across these four operator models, it'll be easier to read when you get the handout from Inga later on today. But in the darker blue, you see what people have been doing for a long time, right? We give you a product, we have these product attached services, things like technical training, on-site repair, implementation, and some of the integration work. And that's where that level 1 and 2 is made a lot of money. But as you start to move over to these level 3 offers and these optimized and adoption service offers, the supplier begins to take more responsibility for the ownership, the operation, and the improvement of the customer's ability to get an outcome. And if you look in this area, in adoption services specifically, and then we'll go down to consumption optimization, this is where suppliers really help customers get the ROI that was promised when they purchased the hardware. Melissa's got a great example of this later in the webinar. Moving over to the level 4 outcome as a service offer, and then specifically looking at success science and these success reviews, this is where, field service engineers take advantage of the well over 40 on-site visits that they make on a month. And during those visits, they've seen good implementations and poor implementations, and they're in a great position to provide advice and to drive customer outcomes. So what we see is as the shift occurs, you start to move to adoption and to these outcome offers, and field service starts to play a much bigger role in delivery and in the transformation that we're seeing. The great news for all of us is that not only do suppliers get incremental revenue from this new activity, but when the field service engineers play this leadership role in the driving of and delivering of adoption and outcome offers, the renewal rates actually go up. So from our TSIA field service benchmark, what we've seen is that up to 7 points of improvement when field services are actually playing a significant role in driving adoption versus members that only engage in break-fix maintenance activities. So there's obviously a lot more to this, but at this point, what I really like to do is introduce ServiceMax and the strong leadership that they've displayed in enabling field service organizations to play this more prominent role in that move to an outcome-based world. So with that, Melissa, take it away.
Thanks so much, Bill. And thanks, everybody, for your time on today's session. So I'm going to start off by introducing ServiceMax for those of you who may not know us. We are a proven leader in field service management, leading the evolution to a connected service-led economy. Our mission is to empower every field service technician in the world to deliver flawless field service. Through our dedicated field service expertise and technology, we're helping businesses of all sizes and in all industries unleash untapped growth potential of service. So we're really excited to be here today to talk a little bit about the shift to outcome-based models and also smart connected products. And I wanted to start with a little bit of a stat check. How companies look at their install base today is changing, and it's something that we're seeing all the time here at ServiceMax. Our company, a lot of the customers that we work with are very focused on gaining visibility into their install base and also thinking about how they're going to connect to the Internet of Things. So I thought this stat was interesting from Tata Consulting, that 25% of all global companies track the products they sell to customers through embedded sensors. And for industrial manufacturers, that number is at 40% today. And as Val introduced, ultimately, this move to smart connected products enables the evolution to service as the product that your company sells. If you're unprepared to enable your service business and field engineers to take advantage of this shift, you're going to open the door for your competitors to take market share and revenue from your service business. Not coincidentally, those same 40% of industrial manufacturers who have implemented connected products also reported the largest revenue increase from the Internet of Things last year at nearly 30%. And there are a number of forces that are shaping this innovation in the new service economy. Trends like moving to the cloud, introducing new mobile platforms, and also demographic shifts like more digital natives and millennials both becoming customers as well as moving into the workforce. Business drivers like customer empowerment and product stewardship, and also technology shifts like the introduction of drones and 3D printing are really creating a lot of new opportunities for service. It's becoming very exciting out there. And prepping for Dreamforce this week, I've been working with some of our partners, and the technology that they are introducing through things like wearables is getting really exciting to see where that's going to go for field service in the next couple of years. So to help us think through some of the aspects of this evolution to outcome-based service, let's walk through 5 W's to kind of help us structure our thinking. First question is what? So what will field service businesses need to deliver outcome-based service? ServiceMax is answering this question with our vision for an operating system in the new service economy. And you can see at the center of this operating system are our customers' products, their people, their processes, and their promises. And this is really kind of the essence of our field service management solution and where it's going in the future. Gaining visibility into your install base is increasingly important, and we're also focused on helping our field service customers really realize those changes through mobility as well. We've got a great suite of field-ready mobile apps that once your install base becomes smart and connected through the Internet of Things, that field-ready mobile app suite that we offer is going to help be the hub for that connected technical machine data for your technicians and also for your service business. The other great aspect of field service automation that ServiceMax manages is really helping with your processes. So defining the right workflows for your businesses, making them configurable, and also future-proof so that no matter what changes happen with your business, both through smart connected products or through other mandates that are coming down as business models change, you're going to be able to stay ahead of that with your technology that's supporting your service organization. At the same time, your people. So managing the technicians that are out there in the field, as well as the dispatchers, making sure they're going to be able to schedule the right people with the right skills and expertise to the right job at the right time, and also ensuring that you're going to be able to meet customers' promises, which is ultimately at the heart of this performance or outcome-based model. So today, ServiceMax really focuses on automating entitlements, giving full contract management capabilities, which we'll talk about, SLA performance as well, and exposing all of that critical information to the technician through our field-ready mobile app. So our connected service solution is really helping our customers move towards proactive and ultimately predictive service. And this is just a quick screenshot of where we're going with our connected service solution. You can see here this is actually a little bit of a mashup between our close partner, PTC, who is providing the IoT platform and technology, and we're tightly integrating with them to be able to connect to the devices, machine data, pull that into the ServiceMax field service solution so that your business can do things like monitor the threshold and the health of your equipment, expose very quickly if that threshold may be breached, create an alert and a workflow to notify the right person if a work order needs to be created and scheduled based on machine health, driving that proactive service workflow so that you no longer are reacting to a break-fix call that you're receiving from a customer. Instead, you're delighting them by telling them that you're going to come out with a work order, communicating, and really moving from reactive to proactive in a true sense, all based around your machine intelligence. And so with this, your machine-initiated service requests, devices are connected to the device cloud. The ThingWorx Converge platform is monitoring connected devices and producing alerts easily upon defined exception conditions. And these exceptions are interpreted and can result in the creation of a service request in ServiceMax, which we're really seeing as the service execution system in partnership with PTC's IoT platform. Ultimately, this is going to help greatly reduce start times. The sooner you can get the information out to the field, the quicker you can diagnose it and reduce resolution times dramatically. Ultimately playing into SLA compliance and helping more customers move away from response time, but also moving towards how quickly you can come up and running with a resolution time. One of the things that PTC likes to talk about that I think is really interesting is this concept of the service paradox that also goes back to a little bit about what Bell showed in the B4B model earlier, which is that as companies move towards these connected products, it may actually create a little bit of a paradox where reduced service visits or less need for spare parts can come into play because you're operating more efficiently and intelligently with this machine data. And so The question becomes, will that impact service revenue and opportunities for the service business? And if so, do we need to take a step back and really look at the business models that we're operating under? And as we move to those value-added service models and ultimately outcome-based models, questions about, do I focus on usage or outcomes really come to the forefront. And that also really reflects back on moving away from the commoditizing effect, the level 1 and level 2 in that B for B model that Vel mentioned. In a usage-based model, the customer really would pay for usage of the product, which also goes back to the concept of adoption services, right? So if you want a customer to be successful using your machines or products, you need to really enable them to understand how to do that intelligently, make sure they're adopting it well, and the technician can be really viewed as the expert in the field to help drive that adoption. In the example that you see on the screen, the printing image, what if the printing company, for example, charged by pages or hours in operation of the machine? That's something that one of our customers is actually looking at right now, using some of our functionality to enable that. In a fully outcome-based model, the customer would pay for performance or the end result. And that would mean the company would take on a lot more of the risk to be able to ensure that outcome. So in the printer example, for instance, perhaps they might guarantee the quality of the image and the uptime of the machine. So really, control and risk for that outcome shift to the service provider to focus on the results and the value to the customer. You need to be able to track the results, come up with the correct business model that mitigates that risk, and enable the right technology to deliver the outcome or usage promise. And that's where ServiceMax is coming into the picture. For the business, if they don't get their outcomes, then they're not getting paid. And again, driving that adoption and making sure their customers are using what was sold to them. So the next question under what is going to enable these new models? And our customers at ServiceMax are already considering the depth of ServiceMax, both in our field-ready mobile applications as well as in our contract management capabilities as some of the core technology also as part of this connected service solution and the install base information. And so with ServiceMax, you're going to be able to really see complete warranty and entitlement capabilities in conjunction with connected products data to create new types of outcome-based service agreements. You can configure our mobile apps to grant the technician visibility of coverage and lead to greater understanding of the customer's needs and entitled services. That also in our current customer accounts helps reduce things like service leakage and misbilling to increase customer satisfaction and the ability to meet outcomes. Today, our customers are also leveraging capabilities like you see on the screen in front of you in the iPad app for things like counter reading history to track usage of installed products and include usage as part of the contract agreement. On the image on the right, you can see our ServiceMax Mobile for iPhone app, where our technicians that are out in the field using ServiceMax actually use Get Price functionality to automate all entitlement information and get accurate pricing in the field, whether they're online or offline. And so the great thing about ServiceMax Field Ready mobile apps is it works fully offline. All of that entitlement information and customer information, service history, everything you need is right there in front of you. And with our contracts capability, we offer something called service plans, which can be used as a pre-existing template for standardized contracts and really allows you to add on kind of the information that you need into the service plan and be able to reuse the template, but also really structure it to meet customer needs. We have a lot of components within our contract management capabilities that allows you to add granular levels of service, add as many included services as you want, and really create flexibility to create contracts that meet kind of the new evolution to more usage and even outcome-based service. And we're going to continue to evolve this functionality to support this transition to the new service economy. So moving on to our next question of who. The shift to a service-led business is going to affect many roles. I think that's probably pretty obvious. And I wanted to just touch on a few of them here. We just talked about contracts, so I thought I would bring that up first. Contract managers are going to need the tools and technology to create new service plans and coverage that support both usage and outcomes and enable their technicians to auto-entitle based on those commitments in the field. They're also going to need to enable the sales team to sell those packages and pricing plans that they come up with. And so making sure that you have the technology that support all of the different service offerings that you're going to want to add and all the level of coverage and detail underneath those contracts so that you're not leaving money on the table is going to be really critical. Also, service leaders are going to need to work to develop business plans and new strategic service offerings while maintaining their P&L by leveraging technology. So making sure that they're not risking costs by missing outcomes, really exposing that technology and that machine data right into the service leadership as well as to customers, so that on both ends you're really managing the success of the sale of products as well as services. And then also the shift to delivering on performance may actually necessitate a new role of a customer success manager. Ensuring customer success really a lot of times takes a team approach with someone managing the account's performance alongside the customer to champion their success. It's a role that we see a lot of times at software companies. Everyone that I've worked at has had a customer success type of a role. And really they're the account champion. They help with adoption. They drive that success. And so thinking about within your organization, is that a role that you already have, or is that something that you may need to consider as you move to outcome-based service? For your technicians and field engineers, they need to be completely prepared to help customers meet these commitments, drive adoption and success. And they need to come into the situation with more context-based, historical, and data-driven information to drive that customer success. So on the screen in front of you see just a couple examples of how ServiceMax enables people to do this today through social collaboration tools, to really be able to share expertise and drive customer success right there in the field. And then also through our vision for connected service with our integration through PTC, getting access to diagnostic and knowledge information to really enable the technician to have all of their context-based information and service history on site, fully offline, in a way that's going to enable them to drive customer success. I think the real person or role that it's going to affect the most, though, is customers, because we're really going to start to see customers as partners in a relationship, not just with one endpoint in one service delivery issue or work order. And as this relationship grows, it's going to help put a little bit more of the onus on the customer to make sure they're receiving the outcome. So they're going to have a little bit more skin in the game, so to speak, exposing the technology to them to make sure they're able to track the health of their machines as well. I think it's something that we're going to see more as we go down the road with connected products, and really ensuring that they have the insight into identify trends over time, get that information back to the product organization, development organization to drive a feedback loop, and really less about defining what's wrong and more about selling what's right with these products and solutions and what right looks like. So again, moving less from reactive break fix to more to proactive service and focusing on the outcome and the success of your customer with your product as a service offering. Business process is going to be key to customer success, and ServiceMax is really focused, as I mentioned before, on helping our customers define the right process. And in this vision for the new service economy, process is going to be so important to collecting that machine data from the machine cloud and making sure that the right business processes are in place to gain as much value from the system as possible. And it's really core to how ServiceMax helps businesses meet needs now and in the future. So our Service Flow Manager framework is one component of that I'd like to talk about. It's a really powerful tool that lets you set up ServiceMax to meet your business process requirements and how your users will interact with the system. It's really easily changed as new business objectives or workflows come to pass. So again, you'll never really be stuck in the box as devices get connected and processes can be defined to make the most of machine intelligence. We found that by exposing ServiceMax setup and administrative capabilities to the right folks within our customer base, they're able to really define the right workflows and business processes to meet specific needs in their business. And as mandates change, let's say the mandate comes down to increase service revenue by 10%, they can actually configure new workflows in the system to help meet those high-level business objectives. It's a really powerful tool, and I think as the machine data comes into play, it's going to drive this proactive service that will enable the ability to meet specific outcomes or usage requirements that are set up in these predefined service agreements. The next question that comes along is where. So where is this happening today? One example that I wanted to give is a ServiceMax customer that we've been working with for a while. They are a solar energy systems company, and they've really focused on providing proactive, data-driven operations and maintenance capabilities, ensuring guaranteed system availability as the outcome that they're focused on. And in fact, they're going to be speaking at Dreamforce next week. So if you're at Dreamforce or our event, the Connected Service Experience, that's going to be happening at the W Hotel next week, definitely stop by and you'll hear a little bit more about this topic as well in our vision. Enphase is a leading global supplier of solar microinverter systems, and they've implemented a combination of ServiceMax for field service management and mobile technology, as well as their own proprietary technology for their connected service platform, because they actually are a very early adopter. They've gotten started with this a while back. And so what they're seeing is a lot of success around driving collaboration for technicians in the field. They feel it's really core to the success of proactive service is communicating with your customers about both the issue and resolution in hand before they even know there's an issue. Driving value creation, finding the next service that's going to provide value to your customers, and also maximizing performance. They do a lot of remote service and changing machine settings, including firmware updates to minimize the service visits that they need to initiate. And so they found that they're driving a lot of great results through this shift to outcome-based and connected service, and they really feel that ServiceMax and the FieldReady mobile apps are a big component of their success in this initiative. Next question under where is where along the service transformation continuum do you fall today and how will you progress? This chart is almost a little bit of a sister chart to the B4B model that Val shared at the beginning, but product-centric businesses are at the lagging end of the continuum and have the most to gain by moving along the service path, adding value to customers along the way. Knowing how your customers are using your products allows you to extend value-added services. So things like additional preventive maintenance offerings that may have a little bit more meat around them, new SLAs, things of that nature. And they're capturing rich historical and product usage data. Virus costs of switching to a new supplier are going to increase. So you're really going to create sticky customers by providing the value and really selling them the end result that they are truly hoping for by engaging with your company. Next question is when. So when did this all start? One classic example that you may have heard is Rolls-Royce selling power by the hour. And the way this worked was Rolls-Royce provided all the support, including maintenance, to ensure that aero engines can continue to deliver power. It actually was invented in the early 60s as a complete engine and accessory replacement service offered on a fixed cost per flying hour basis. And it aligned the interests of the manufacturer and operator, who only paid for engines that performed well. Another interesting example, in 1972, Levitt wrote in his Harvard Business publication that the customer really doesn't want a drilling machine, he wants a hole in the wall. I think this is just the greatest illustration of what is outcome-based service. But where are we going? By 2018, IDC thinks 40% of the top 100 discrete manufacturers and 20% of the top 100 process manufacturers will provide product as a service, which is a synonym for outcome-based service platforms. And so, you know, it's already almost 2016. It's scary how time flies, but this push to outcome-based models is happening. It's really being driven by Internet of Things and this great shift that we're seeing in the Internet of Things and momentum there, and there's a lot to look forward to. So why are you going to consider moving to these outcome-based models? There are a number of great reasons that we've seen through businesses who have experimented with this and been the early adopters, and even meetings that we're having now at ServiceMax with some of our biggest customers that are considering outcome-based service, throwing ideas on the board of where they're going to see the greatest value. The first is around profitability, higher margins and more revenue opportunity, and also minimizing costs through proactive service. Delivering an outcome through adoption and success services leads to improved customer satisfaction. And when you wow your customers by fixing something before they even knew it was broken or preventing it from even breaking at all, you're really going to just drive customer loyalty. And if you think about the Net Promoter Model, the 3 R's around that are retention, repurchase, and referral. And the higher your loyalty scores are, the more you're going to see that customer retention and also the ability to drive viral word of mouth about your business. Ultimately, though, I think one of the biggest wins around us and being the first mover in outcome-based service and an early adopter of connected products is market leadership. Competitive differentiation, if you can get out there and really differentiate the offerings that your company is providing to the market and really define yourself as a value-added business, you're going to be able to drive that market leadership. So that's all I had today. As you can see, we're right at the 30-minute mark on the hour, so I'm going to pass it back to Inga and Vel to close out today's talk.
Great. Thank you so much, Melissa and Vel, for a very insightful presentation. You shared a lot of really informative data. And we are coming to the conclusion of today's webinar. Just want to remind everyone on today's webinar that a link to the recorded version of today's presentation and the PDF of the presentation will be sent out in the next 24 hours via email. And any questions that we didn't get to today, we will be sure to follow up with you via email as well. I'd like to take this time to thank everyone for joining us in today's webinar, 5 W's of an Outcome-Based Service Model, brought to you by TSIA and sponsored by ServiceMax. We look forward to seeing you at our next webinar very soon. Have a great day, everyone.